I'm sure after the last video that you all had a theory that this video would be next. I'll spare you all the terrible game theory jokes from here on out, I promise, so today we are going to cover theory in this series. Theory and praxis are interesting because I'd say they're right around the same level in terms of how good they are as a whole, and theory gets a few extra points for being probably on the higher end of tank class blades, but she's still pretty middle of the pack overall. Regardless though, you can still use Theory to great effect, and in this video we're going to be taking a closer look at Theory, discussing all of her strengths and weaknesses, and how to use her the most effectively for maximum success. If you enjoy this type of guide content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and look forward to all of the future blades, both good and bad, because it does help out so much. So Theory is a katana class weapon, which is in my opinion the best weapon class in the game overall, so that's already a positive sign. I personally think she's going to function best on Morag because katanas are typically a good class on her, and being a katana she has good synergy with evasion, and Morag has a great agility stat. If you want to use her on the same team as Praxis, I suggest giving either her or Praxis to Rex, since Rex is also good with both weapon types. Being in the katana class, she is a tank class blade, and as you might expect, her stats reflect this. She has defense values of 20 and 30, being slightly stronger against ether attacks than physical attacks, but as a katana, she also has a 15% agility stat mod, focusing more on evasion rather than pure raw defense anyway. This is a nice stat mod to have to ensure she can evade as many attacks as possible. Her critical hit tier is the second highest because katanas are great, so she can reach 50% critical hit rate and have an auto attack stat of 1340 with the Moon Matter core chip, which gives her a solid damage base even if she isn't an attack blade. Her block rate tier is also the second highest, although this is not very well reflected through the stat here, but if you use a block rate core chip instead, she can have a decent block rate as well. Her blade switch cooldown time is 5, giving her a pretty nice amount of uptime. Let us take a look at her skill tree and see what unique attributes she has to offer to her driver. The first skill Theory has is Steadfast. This will boost her speed every time she flinches. Oh, sorry, wrong game. This skill will boost her break resist by 30% at level 1 and 70% at level 5. Basically, anytime an attack that can break the driver using her is used, there is a 70% chance that Theory will completely nullify the reaction no matter what. This, in turn, means that if they wanted to try to combo you with Topple, Launch, or even Smash, you'd still be fine because you never got broken in the first place. Forced Topples and Launches will of course still bypass this. Personally, I think Break is rare enough. I would have liked to see this skill just be flat out 100% instead of only 70%. It's already a skill that won't be useful in every fight since it requires enemies to actually have ways to break you, so why not just make it guaranteed to have a useful effect? It's an okay skill overall and can still have niches in certain situations, but it is worth noting if you plan on focusing on evasion a lot, then you wouldn't really get hit anyway by break abilities, so that makes it a little bit less useful. All in all, it's not too great of a skill, but it can be worth using in fights where breaks are common. I just would have liked to see it be 100%. Theory's second skill is Conviction. This will increase damage to enemies targeting you by 25% at level 1, rising up to 50% at level 5. Honestly, this is a pretty good skill to have as a tank, ensuring if you get aggro, you'll have an easier time being able to keep it since your damage will be boosted, and having a damage increase as a tank class blade is actually really useful for helping you accomplish your goals of keeping aggro. The skill does work better if you're controlling Theory, however, since AI isn't always the greatest at keeping aggro, but this is still a nice skill to help Theory keep aggro and do some additional damage. Theory's final skill is Aerial Flash Dance. This will counter attacks with 200% physical damage at level 1, rising up to 400% at level 5. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, it means that when you evade an attack, Theory's driver's strength stat will be multiplied by 4 and deal damage to the opponent. It's a very insignificant source of damage, all things considered, and not really worth worrying about in any fight. What's an extra 2,000 damage per evaded attack when you can hit like 50,000 minimum when using an art, you know? It's just really insignificant and not really a skill worth worrying about, and I'd probably say it's her worst skill overall, unfortunately. All in all, Theory has one pretty solid skill, one skill that's a bit niche, and one that isn't really that useful. Still, she has a lot of other positives, so let's take a look at her specials now. Theory's level 1 special is Ice Slash. It is a 2-hit ether-based special with a small area of effect. Funnily enough, it has a higher damage ratio than Praxis' level 1 special, even if it's a standard and average damage ratio for level 1s overall, being in the 300 at level 1, 460 at level 5, and 480 at max affinity tier of specials. This is probably her worst special overall because its bonus effect isn't really the most useful, just increasing aggro drawn from the special, which isn't the most needed when you can just use a different special to do more damage and get more aggro anyway. It has decent speed, so that's one thing it has going for it, but being only 2 hits, it still isn't optimal for chain attacks. It's an okay special to use if you want to just get a quick ice combo near the start of a fight, but otherwise I use her other specials first. Theory's level 2 special is Frost Banish. This is a 4-hit physical special that is single target and has no special modifiers. The damage ratio is 400 at level 1, 560 at level 5, and 609 at max affinity, hitting another average ratio threshold, and all in all, it's probably a bit average as a special. It does have a nice bonus effect of increasing damage to enemies targeting the user, just like her skill, so that can stack together and give the special some nice damage when an enemy is targeting Theory, and because of this, it isn't too bad of an option in some situations. Still, it isn't really the special you want to be focusing on that much, because that special would be Theory's level 3 special, which is Rebel Sister. This is Theory's best special pretty easily in my opinion. It's an ether-based special, and while it is only 2 hits, those 2 hits can hit very hard. The damage ratio is actually in a nice tier, being 500 at level 1, 700 in level 5, and 748 at max affinity. That's quite a bit higher than Praxis and actually tied with blades like Cutie Pie. Additionally, the bonus effect is increased critical damage by 85%, and getting critical hits with this special is going to hurt a lot because of that and benefit from all sorts of added to damage increases that you might have on Theory since they'll multiply together. This can set up some very powerful ice combos on enemies, and while the speed isn't that amazing for this special, it's still a very powerful special that you should likely be focusing on in fights you plan to use Theory, because it really is just that nice of a special for damage overall. Well, unless you have a bad critical hit rate, I guess. Unfortunately, it does not have an additional critical hit modifier or anything like that, but with Theory's naturally high critical hit rate, you still have really good odds at max affinity, and if that weren't enough, it has a radius of 8, giving it a very large area of effect and easily able to hit multiple enemies in fights, making it very good for clearing mobs. All in all, this is easily her best special and easily outclasses her level 4, which is Winter's Wake. So for one, level 4s are good for invincibility and freezing driver combos, but the damage ratio is something I wish she did not share with Praxis. It's only 900 total, so that means with the 25% bonus to level 1 through 3 specials at max affinity, the level 3 with its 748 ratio is always going to outdamage the special even before the critical damage effect gets taken into effect. The bonus effect on this art is increasing damage to enemies targeting Theory by 100%, which is the same as her level 2, but that is never going to make up the difference. This is not a level 4 to use for damage, only for immunity or setting up fusion combos, because otherwise her level 3 is easily going to outdamage this ability thanks to the low damage ratio and worse effect on this special. Basically, Theory's level 3 is very good, her level 2 is decent, and her level 1 and 4 are not really worth using that much. For setup, Moon Matter Core Chip is obvious for the high critical hit rate. Block rate being low is not that important since you can just set up for evasion. Aux-Core's Affinity Max Attack is still universally amazing on everyone, as you might expect. Outdoor Attack is great for more damage, but Affinity Max Evade is a great option if you don't have as much agility to stack and need more evasion overall. Critical Up can also be a nice option to boost her critical hit prowess even further. If you want to go all in on Break Resist, you can even use that, I guess, but it likely is not going to be required in any fight where Break is a factor. For accessories, I am choosing to run Dauntless Boots to maximize my agility as much as I can. I'm also running Blades with Agility stat mods to boost my agility even further. I will be using Mithra with Theory here, so Foresight can make me basically unhittable, which is nice against many enemies, and can at least make that counter spike damage do something. Crimson Headband is great because Theory has a high critical hit rate, and this should basically always be used on Blades with high critical hit rates because it's just really that good of an accessory. And in the final slot, Abyss Mask to increase damage even further. Any kind of damage increase works here, honestly though, like Divine Van Braces or something like that, so no need to worry about the drawback if you just don't get hit here. I don't recommend chain attack items because Theory isn't a great blade for those, but if you want to be more defensive, you can also consider a metal since Theory does have a high critical hit rate, but realistically not a major worry because of the evasion that she also has. Katanas don't have the greatest art cooldown, so to maximize that as much as possible, I recommend running a Pickled Ice Cabbage, which is both Theory and Morag's favorite category, so you can max out on art recharge with the second slot being any 0.4 art recharge item. With all that done, let's see how to use Theory practically. So, in addition to really good evasion capabilities and stuff like that, Theory also has a smash art on Morag, so she can actually benefit from driver combo support. Since Mithra is a great blade to team up with her and she has a topple art, our old friend Tora, who seems to appear in a lot of these videos, is once again a great partner for her because he can break and launch very effectively. Additionally, the extra bonuses from being able to use your level 3 on topples and launches can give you quite a bit of additional damage as well, which can be very nice. And when that fails, when you're not getting the breaks and stuff you need, you still have really powerful evasion to make Theory basically very, very difficult to kill. Or if you're like me, you're able to show off both in this fight because Tora was unable to block or dodge an attack that Mithra and Theory were able to dodge. But we're able to get a damage cap freeze right there thanks to the power of Theory's wonderful level 3 special, which was very nice. And now we are going to finish this fight off pretty simply, I think. Even with our friend Tora dying in just a second because of Ultra Annihilation Flare, which is a funny move. He affects every status effect when this happens, but we have plenty of evasion, so I wasn't worried at all, but this has actually a larger AoE than I thought, so Tora ends up dying because he doesn't have the same level of evasion as Theory and Mithra do, but that's okay. It gives me a good chance to show off Theory's evasion here, and you're going to be able to see how most attacks are going to be missing us thanks to Foresight and everything else. Attacks still have a 3% chance to hit you, though, even at if you have maximum evasion, because you cannot go lower than that. But it's still nice nonetheless. You can see right there, level 4 is just not doing impressive damage compared to level 3, which is unfortunate. Rampage Train does not hit me at all, which is very nice. That attack is very dangerous if it does manage to hit you. And all in all, whether you use driver combos or rely on evasion, it doesn't really matter too much. You're still going to be able to do things just fine. Somehow I actually lost aggro right here. I don't know how that happened, but we're able to get it back pretty quickly here, which is helpful. I guess Mithra just does so much damage, and the rolling smash isn't carrying the aggro reduction there or something. So one good thing about having Tora alive is that he's Earth Element, so he can actually finish this combo here for us, which I cannot do. That's one weakness of Ice Blades. They cannot finish their own combos. You have to have combos that build into them if you want to be able to have a level 3 with them. But fortunately, Ice and Freeze can give us some nice damage over time effects with Theory's level 3, so that's not really a major issue there. It's probably better to focus on those anyway. And I could have revived Tora at any time here. I just wanted to show off Theory's evasion, so don't... If you're trying to be, like, maximum successful, make sure you actually revive your allies. Don't be like me and be stubborn and be like, I'm gonna finish this fight without him. I don't need him. But to better showcase both of these effects at the same time, both good evasion and driver combo usage with Theory's abilities, we're going to be doing a different challenge here. Elma Redux, everyone's favorite challenge. So in that challenge, there are multiple dangerous enemies in this fight. They have a lot of hits, but we can also driver combo the main Elma if we're able to get the breaks with Tora. Fun fact, the main Elma in this challenge has the highest break resist in the game, but thankfully Tora has a really nice break art, so that's not really a major deal. And with enough break resist reduction, we're able to just break her pretty consistently anyway, so that's not really a major issue. And from there, we're able to do some smashes when we want to get a lot of extra additional smash damage. So I'm running Quadruple Slash over Overfall because it allows me to actually chain my arts more effectively. And you're able to see right here that Theory's level 3 has a lot of area of effect. We're able to hit all the Ghost Elmas and the main Elma at the same time, which is actually very nice. And all in all, this is a pretty good, effective strategy here. We're able to both smash the main Elma, get a lot of extra damage that way, and the Ghost Elmas are unable to ever hit us, and even when the main Elma tries to hit us, she can't really hit us either, so that's very nice. We don't have Foresight right now because the main Elma used Overdrive, which lowered everyone's affinity that got hit, and Mithra unfortunately got hit, but we still have plenty of agility regardless. And we're able to get a lot of health potions from all the driver combos, so even though it looked like we were low on health there for a second, we're already back to full. And Mithra's at max affinity again, so the Foresight buff's going to make sure we're basically unhittable the rest of this fight, except for the few 3% that get through our barrier. So I'm going to be using Tora's Permafrost Crash here, just to reset the blade combo so I can start using Ice and Freeze again here. And that's going to do a lot of damage because Cutie Pie is powerful, as you might expect. The Elemental Awakening is going to increase Elmo's attack frequency and stuff like that, but that doesn't matter because we're not going to get hit anyway. Feels like we had a lot of blades that can smash recently. Both lances and katanas can smash on Morag, and I did them back to back. But, you know, that's not really a big deal anyway. Smashing is a good effect. Using level 3 to do the AoE here shows how good that is. We're getting a lot of damage thanks to the damage bonus it has as well. The smashes are doing a lot, so I think this is a really good fight for just showing like what Theory is capable of here. And it is worth noting I did nerf the health a little bit, so this fight wouldn't take forever. If you're doing the normal Elma, it'll probably take longer than what you are seeing here if you want to copy this strategy, but the strategy is still very consistent and usable just the same, because if you're not getting hit, then yeah, that's basically it. You don't need to worry about anything. Agility is pretty much the ultimate counter to this challenge no matter what. You can do things like seal reinforcements, but agility is always going to be your best bet in evading attacks, because Elma can hit so much and hit so hard. If you're evading things, then that's really all you have to worry about in this fight. So the main Elma is almost dead now that we've reset the blade combos again. So we're just going to keep using our level 3s here and do as much damage to the main Elma and Ghost Elmas with that as we can, thanks to the area of effect. And we're just getting a lot of damage. It's really good when it gets launched and you can get crits on the launched enemy, because that gives you a lot of additional damage here. And damage is also a little bit nerfed because we're only level 60 for this fight because of the restriction, but we're still able to do a lot here, and it's very helpful against Elma, who has a lot of health. She actually has, I think, either the second or third highest health in the entire game after Ken and maybe Gogol. The Carlos Gogol in that challenge. It's a lot of health. She might actually have more. They're both around 38 million, if I remember correctly. But regardless, we're going to finish this fight off right here with the smash, and we'll kill the ghost afterwards, but you're able to see evasion, driver combos, very effective with Theory. Probably a better strategy than kind of chain attacking or anything like that. And even with the sealed party meter, we're able to get through this fight pretty simply here. And all in all, Theory is a solid blade who can handle pretty much anything the game throws at her with the power of evasion and driver combos. Theory may not be as strong as someone like Corvin, but she can still serve you just fine if you're a big fan of hers. And evasion is always a very good strategy in this game. Theory has the damage output needed to function as a nice tank and has some extra utility that can be very helpful as well. I hope you all learned something from watching this video, and we'll look forward to the remainder of the Blade Combat Guide videos. Guess we'll finally get to a Jihan next. If you enjoyed, please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and support me so I can continue making great videos for you. With all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.